Alright, Shalom, Shalom, Kahala, Yahweh Bashim Shai, to the honest the apostles and elders of the great millstone who rule well, and citations to the brethren on the four corners of the earth, push the word in truth and sincerity, the hopeful elect. Now, this is another great millstone motivation. This motivation is going to be on the Non-Proliferation Act or treaty on the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons. Now, what this is a NATO treaty basically restricting the distribution and the creation of nuclear weapons. So basically, it's supposed to be an equalizer in the nuclear arms race to basically equalize all countries. Make sure no one has more nukes than the other country, and basically equal the balance of power. But the thing about this is, America, the great whore, Esau doesn't like to be equal with anyone. So this treaty was put together by NATO, but there's a lot of things in this treaty that have been violated by America with no repercussions. So as this stands, it's supposed to be international law, but America can do whatever the hell they want. So I'm just gonna jump right into the treaty and read some fine points out of it. You brothers can read this, in your free time, But let me just jump right into it. It says the Treaty of the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, commonly known as the Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT, is an international treaty whose objective is to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and weapons technology, to promote cooperation in the peaceful uses of nuclear energy, and to further the goal of achieving nuclear disarmament in general and complete disarmament. So basically, also they're trying to disarm countries, from having nuclear weapons as well. Again to equalize every country. So this is the treaty here, and then you also have some member states that didn't sign the treaty, which alarmed me. This is I'll just read down real quick. It says 4 member states have never accepted the NPT, 3 of which are thought to possess nuclear weapons: India, Israel, and Pakistan. In addition, South Sudan, founded in 2011, has not joined. The treaty denies nuclear weapon states as those that have built and tested a nuclear explosive device before January 1st, 1967. These are the United States, Russia, United Kingdom, France, and China. 4 other states are known or believed to possess nuclear weapons. India, Pakistan, and North Korea have openly tested and declared that they possess nuclear weapons, while Israel is deliberately ambiguous regarding its nuclear weapon status. So why would Israel be ambiguous? Why would Israel not sign the treaty and then not report how many nuclear weapons they have, if they have any at all? That's because they do have nuclear weapons, and they're getting their weapons and their funding for the weaponry for the uranium enrichment from America. Because Esau's job is to take peace from the earth. To destroy. That's what Esau's job is, man. That was the blessing that the Lord gave him. So anything that commemorates him stopping his mission, he's going to jump over that and find loopholes. It's Revelation 6:1. It said, 6:4. It says, and there went out another horse that was red, which this red horse represents Esau, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. And that power that was given to him was his blessing, which was a sword, man. And that they should kill one another. And this is the whole point, because Esau is meant to tear each other apart, man. It is meant to have these nuclear weapons. So this whole Non-Proliferation Act, this contract is going to be null and void. It's not going to matter. Matter of fact, the contract is null and void in times of war. It says, and there was given unto him a great sword, and that sword is a nuclear missile. First it was actually a real sword, then it became a gun. Now it's a nuclear missile. So this is his weapon. This is his blessing that he received from the Lord himself, man. And he's going to use that blessing to its fullest extent, even if that means lying and not, signing a treaty and lying, or not signing a treaty at all and lying anyway. That's Esau's whole MO is to lie. This is Genesis 27:37. And Isaac answered and said to Esau, behold, I have made him thy lord. All his brethren have I given to him for servants. and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do unto thee, my son? Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also. O my father, and Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword thou shalt live. You know? And right now it's a thermonuclear missile, man. You know, Esau is living by the sword, you know, threatening to nuclear strike and a drone strike other countries and take out their leaders and things like that, man. You know, everything that comes from Esau is a nuclear threat. And shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass that when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. You know, and this happened during the time of King David, but that's neither here nor there. You know, the point is right here, by thy sword thou shalt live, man. You know. So when you go into this treaty, you know, you learn that Israel hasn't signed it, and Israel hasn't reported to NATO on how many nuclear weapons it has. And on the other hand, America is having disputes with this Non-Proliferation Act. For the simple fact is one of the clauses in the act is to not share nuclear weapons or not distribute nuclear weapons. And you find out that America has been distributing and hiding nuclear weapons in all of its allied countries, you know, which is a violation of the Non-Proliferation Act, which is supposed to have repercussions and consequences behind violation. But the America, the Great Whore, is in bed with so many countries. You know, she doesn't really get any repercussions. So this is from the treaty structure. You have the NPT, which consists of a preamble and 11 articles. Although the concept of pillars is not expressed anywhere in the NPT, the treaty is nevertheless sometimes interpreted as a three-pillar system, with an implicit balance among them. So one, you got non-proliferation. So let me click on this. Which non-proliferation is a spread of nuclear weapons, fissionable material and weapons applicable nuclear technology and information to nations not recognized as nuclear weapon states. You know? So, yeah, non-proliferation is a spread of nuclear weapons, man. You know? Which, that's the first clause, is non-proliferation, no spreading of nuclear weapons, right? 2 is disarmament, which nuclear disarmament refers to both the act of reducing or eliminating nuclear weapons and to the end state of a nuclear weapons-free world, in which nuclear weapons are completely eliminated. Now, that was the whole goal, technically, of this article, right? Now, I'm only going to read those two for a specific reason. And when you read down here, America has violated those first two pillars, or those first two clauses of the structure of the treaty. I'm going to click down. Let's see. And I'm going to read Articles 1, 2, and 3. It says in Article 1, each nuclear weapon state undertakes not to transfer to any recipient nuclear weapons or other nuclear explosive devices, and not to assist any non-nuclear weapon state to manufacture or acquire such weapons or devices. Right? So basically, no spreading any weapons, no transfers. Right? Article 2, each nuclear weapon state party undertakes not to receive from any source nuclear weapons or other nuclear explosive devices, not to manufacture or acquire such weapons or devices, and not to receive any assistance in their manufacture. So now, telling you that in Article 1, can't spread nuclear weapons, can't give them to nobody, and you can't share technology to build the weapons. Article 2 is saying if you're a country who doesn't have nuclear weapons and hasn't had nuclear weapons before January 1st, 1967, then you can't receive nuclear weapons from anyone. You can't receive blueprints on their technology, and you can't build your own. Article 3, each non-nuclear weapons system state party undertakes to conclude an agreement with the IAEA for the application of its safeguards to all nuclear material in all the states' peaceful nuclear activities, and to prevent diversion of such material to nuclear weapons or other nuclear explosive devices. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to go to this little section here, United States NATO nuclear weapons sharing. Now, It says, at the time the treaty was being negotiated, NATO had in place secret nuclear weapons sharing agreements whereby the United States provided nuclear weapons to be deployed by and stored in other NATO states. So before this treaty was even created, America was sharing nuclear weapons in NATO states, man, which is a violation of the first two clauses. You can't share any nuclear weapons, and no one are to receive any nuclear weapons. Some argue that this is an act of proliferation, violating Articles 1 and 2 of the treaty. A counter-argument is that the U.S. controlled the weapons in storage within the NATO states, and that no transfer of the weapons or control over them was intended, unless and until a decision were made to go to war, at which the treaty would no longer be controlling. So America's excuse for that is, oh, I'm just storing the weapons there. We're not giving them to them. We're not giving the weapons to the countries. We're not giving them control over the weapons. We just have them stashed. Unless that country ends up going to war, then they can have the weapons. Which that's a folk tongue, man. That's Satan. That's a satanic tongue. So there is no breach of the NPT. These agreements were disclosed to a few of the states, including the Soviet Union, negotiating the treaty, but most of the states that signed the NPT in 1968 would not have known about these agreements and interpretations at that time. So the countries that signed it didn't even know about this. They didn't know about America and NATO having nuclear weapons in other countries, in other non-nuclear weapon states. But America gets off scot-free off of a technicality, Oh, we just have them stashed there, in case they go to war. If they go to war, then they can use them, which is complete madness. That's in violation of the treaty that they were supposed to be putting together for non-proliferation. But the thing is, America wants to spread nuclear weapons all over the world, so that way he has an edge over other countries. Really, when you think about it, no one really knows how many nuclear weapons that the United States has. They can say, oh, we have this many, but that might just be on hand in the United States. And there are nuclear weapons being created every day. So, not to mention all the nuclear weapons in the other countries that America is stashing, being fit for his own destruction, man. I just want to go into Habakkuk 2 because Esau is a straight liar, man. Esau is not right. He's not righteous. Habakkuk 2 and 4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. So whatever treaty you're going to sign with this man, he's going to lie, he's going to cheat, he's going to steal, and he's going to stab you in the back, man. And the whole point of this treaty was supposedly to disarm, nuclear weapons in every country. You can have a nuclear free world, supposedly. But Esau said, nah, fuck that. I want these nuclear weapons so I can have an edge over everybody else, so I can take them out with the push of a button. But ultimately those nuclear weapons are for Esau's own destruction, man. It says, but the just shall live by faith, yea, also because he transgressed by wine, his own philosophy, his own ways of thinking. He is a proud man, So, of course, a proud man isn't going to adhere to any agreements that are signed, He's going to do what he wants to do because he feels like he's better than everybody who's on top of the world. Which, honestly, Esau is on top of the world at the moment, He's a perfect devil. And this proves it. It says, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desires of hell, and is as death. So Esau is as death, man. Just like the red horse in Revelations that took peace from the earth, man. Esau's job is to bring death and destruction, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all people, and heapeth unto him all. But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So when he signed that treaty, man, he had like Scripture said, he's as death, man, and he had warned his mind the whole time. Like I just read in the treaty. It just said that, oh, we're just throwing the weapons there, and we're not giving them to them, but in case they go to war, they can use them. That's all Esau's thinking about is war and destroying people, destroying the world, man. It's Psalm 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. Hey, everybody, let's create a treaty to disarm nuclear weapons, and to make a nuclear safe world. But meanwhile, it's all about disarming the other countries, and America having an edge over everyone else. America having the most nukes. But meanwhile, we're gonna play like we signed this treaty, but really we're disarming the other countries. You know, that's the devil, man. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. You know, swords are those nuclear missiles, man. You know, his words are softer than oil. Yeah, let's create this piece of legislation. It's going to be international law. We're going to make a nuclear. We're going to work towards being a nuclear energy or nuclear safe world. But all the meanwhile, he's stockpiling weapons himself, man, getting ready for war. You know. In the meantime, you have Israel. You know, which Israel is is basically not adhering to anything that anyone has to say about nuclear weapons or anything. You know, I'm gonna read this non-signatories clause in the article. It says 4 states, India, Israel, Pakistan, and South Sudan, have never signed the treaty. India and Pakistan have publicly disclosed their nuclear weapons program, right? So India and Pakistan, hey, we got nuclear weapons. We're working on them. That's how many we got. But check this out. And Israel has a long-standing policy of deliberate ambiguity with regards to its nuclear program. You know, so you have a list of states with nuclear weapons that was created, but Israel is on that list, but they never disclosed how many nuclear weapons they have, if they have a nuclear program. You know, but no one's stupid, man. Everyone knows damn well that they do because they're in bed with America. In America, Israel has been a welfare state of America since the 1950s. And America has been stockpiling nuclear weapons and other weapons and feeding Israel stipends and feeding them money, and feeding them weapons as well, and feeding them blueprints and technology, you know. So of course they have nuclear weapons. But this is just adhering to the prophecy in Jeremiah 49 where it says at least the wind shall draw them out, you know. Because Israel is going to be the one to start this war off. I'm going to scroll down here to Israel. It says Israel has a long-standing policy of deliberate ambiguity with regards to its nuclear program. See list of countries with nuclear weapons. Israel has been developing nuclear technology at its Dimona site in Negev since 1958. See, so everyone knows that Israel has nuclear weapons. And some non-proliferation analysts estimate that Israel may have stockpiled between 100 and 200 warheads using processed plutonium, you know. So that means the plutonium had already been processed. So either they created it or America created it and gave it to them. The position of the Non-Proliferation Treaty is explained in terms of Israeli exceptionality, a term coined by Professor Gerald M. Steinberg in reference to the perception that the country's small size, overall vulnerability, as well as a history of deep hostility and large-scale attacks by neighboring states require a deterrent capability. So basically they're saying, oh, Israel requires nukes because we're always being attacked and we're always fighting, so we need some type of defense mechanism. The Israeli government refuses to confirm or deny possession of nuclear weapons, although this is now regarded as an open secret. After an Israeli low-level nuclear technician, oh, okay, so now you got a nuclear technician, but you don't have nuclear weapons, though. Yeah, Esau is the devil. Mordecai Vanunu, subsequently arrested and sentenced for treason by Israel, published evidence about the program to the British Sunday Times in 1986. So the whole time they weren't disclosing if they had nuclear weapons or not, or even nuclear program, and even denied having nuclear weapons. But then you got a nuclear technician that came out and published articles saying that, yeah, we have a nuclear program, and they sentenced him to treason. You know, they sentenced him to prison, but they charged him with treason. And why would you do that if you don't have nuclear weapons? You know? So now it's coming out that Israel is nothing but a liar as well. You know, the whole nation is of Esau, nothing but liars and cheats, man. That's all they are. This is Jeremiah 49 and 20. It says, therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord, that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes, that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out, you know, which is Israel, man. Israel is the least of that flock. You know, they were they're the head tribe of Edom, and they're going to be the ones that kick off this world's war. You know, they're already taking steps of committing espionage in other countries, without any type of due process or anything, An example of that was the Stuxnet virus that was created and released in I believe 2011, you know, or 2014, 15. But because America created the virus, but Israel released the virus, you know, to try and get Iran's nuclear program to shut itself down, and to go haywire. So it says the least of them shall draw them out, meaning least of the flock shall draw them out, meaning Israel. Surely ye shall make their habitations desolate with them, because like the script, like the article says, no one knows how many nuclear weapons Israel actually has, So and they're gonna make everything desolate, man. They're gonna make the habitations desolate, because when they set up those nukes, it's gonna be nuclear war, man. That's gonna be a nuclear holocaust, and everything's gonna be turned into dust, which is exactly according to prophecy is going to happen, man. So the true nation Israel can rise up, But now you're gonna start seeing that Israel and America and all the Edomites around the world are going to start contracting their judgment, man. In Nahum 3 and 4 it says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, now we're switching it back to America, the mistress of witchcrafts that selleth nation through her whoredoms, and this is exactly what selling a nation through the whoredom means, man. This whole non-proliferation act, it's selling other countries through America's whoredom, man. All of America's allies are in with this non-proliferation act and have disclosed how many nuclear weapons they have, if they have a program, how far along is it, and everything. But America itself has disclosed, something, has disclosed how many nuclear weapons they have. So they say, they probably gave them a little lie, but they haven't disclosed the full truth. But in the meanwhile, Israel hasn't disclosed anything. So that's all we know. When America shared its nuclear weapons to those other states that didn't have it, Israel might have been a reception of those nuclear weapons. Hell, these 100 or 200 warheads might have came from America, and there might be many more. I'm pretty sure, So that's witchcraft, man. Oh yeah, we're going to disarm nuclear weapons, and everybody write how many nuclear weapons you have and everything, and so because this is going to move towards a better world. And then on the other side, hide nuclear weapons in other countries, distribute nuclear weapons in other countries, It says, behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy weakness, and the kingdoms thy shame, which is happening, man, now at the moment, Everyone's seeing America's shame, coming from this presidential election where Donald Trump is the president, that's folly in itself, all the scandals that Donald Trump is having, with him firing the head of the FBI, his son, his Speaker of the House. There's nothing but scandals surrounding the leader of the United States, man. Now you got KKK protests and Black Lives Matter protests. You got people getting shot and killed, and now you have America sharing GMOs with other countries now. So all of American nakedness is coming out, man. And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock. Everyone's going to gawk at America and look at America like, damn, what's going on with them now? What's the new scandal? What's the problem? What do they have going on now? And it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? Whence shall I seek comforters for thee? Because that's exactly what's going to happen, man. Nineveh is going to be laid waste, Art thou better than populace? No. That was situate upon the rivers? Okay, that's it. But yeah, man, Nineveh is going to be put to death, man. Nineveh is going to be laid completely waste, And it's starting with its economic system, and it's trickling down, to society. It's trickling down to the jobs, trickling down to the level of quality with the machinery, the infrastructure on the highways, on the roads, and the bridges, and the buildings, and to the military, and the degradation of morals. Nineveh is becoming a wasteland, spiritually. and physically, and soon it will be an actual wasteland when it gets destroyed by those own nuclear missiles that they create. That they created. Matter of fact, let me get this Isaiah 54:16, man, because these nuclear weapons were created to destroy, man, and America created these nuclear weapons. So, with that being said, America is trying to get everyone else to take their nuclear programs and shove them in a box. And America's nuclear program is still wide open, man. And still thriving. This is Isaiah 54:16. But little do they know. Behold, it's like it. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. So the Lord put that in Esau's mind and created these nuclear missiles, because that's going to be the instrument of his destruction. And now I created the waster to destroy. You know? So now you have the waster, which is Esau, man. He created the waster to destroy when he gave him his blessing back in Genesis, the 27th chapter. So that's all Esau is good for, is destroying, man. Just like the whole red horse in Revelation 6, man. To take peace from the earth. And with that, with him being the great destroyer, he doesn't understand that now that he opened the floodgates for other countries to develop nuclear weapons, man. And now that all the other countries are seeing America's folly, now they're going to make a move on America with their own technology that they created. Like Scripture saying, was that Psalms 9:13, where it says, "They are sunk down in the pit which they made." This is Isaiah 14:9. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee. Even all the chief ones of the earth. So all the presidents and the prime ministers and the leaders in the forefront of these other countries are going to rise up against America, man, and hell is going to move for it, man, meaning thermonuclear fire. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations, because everyone's seeing America's secrets, man, seeing all the wickedness America has actually proliferated over the past 200 years, man. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Right? Because now everyone has nuclear weapons. So aren't we on the same level? So we can nuke you if we choose to. And you're seeing that now with North Korea, man. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. And that's America's infrastructure, like I was saying earlier. It's decaying, man. The buildings, the roads, the highways. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Right, because now what you're seeing is Esau's, the devil, his slow descent from being on top to slowly being equal with the other nations. How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Which he did. And he weakened the nations with this non-proliferation treaty, by making them vulnerable to subsequently attack, or making them vulnerable by making them disclose their nuclear programs, It says, "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." And he did. He did ascend to the heights of the clouds. He has the satellites up there, space stations. He created what do you call it? He created those images of himself being the Most High, and being the Son, being the prophets, being everybody in the scriptures. So he exalted himself on high, man. Yet shalt thou be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. So you're going to be destroyed, man. And they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, and that did shake kingdoms? So then they're going to ask, like, damn, this is Esau? Like, this is the motherfucker that had the whole earth in fear? Like, he ain't shit. Like, we took him out with our missiles, but he said he had missiles way stronger, and it didn't do anything, Like, damn, like, you see all this scandal going on surrounding their leader? This is him? Like, damn. Okay, so now the other nations are gonna pick on parable against you, man. You know, they're gonna see like they're gonna realize like, damn, you know what? We can take America. America ain't shit, and they will take America, man. They're gonna take America right to hell. You know, that's why the scriptures say hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. You know, or meet thee at thy feet, Salakia. So with that, it's been a great millstone motivation. Shalom. Call Allah Yahweh Shem Shai, the bonds of the apostles of the great millstone who well. Salutations to the brethren on the four corners of the earth, pushing the word, truth, and sincerity. Shalom.